And very slowly bring your awareness back into your body. And as you open your eyes and become more focused and alert, I invite you to continue that message where love is the agenda. I love that message from Kryon. We're going to now move into the next part of our program, and I'm super excited because Anita was someone who used to travel on the road with Lee and I when we would go and do Kryon meetings, and she'd be there registering, and I have a lot of stories I might be able to share. We'll see how we go with time, but I want to make sure that Anita is there. Anita, are you there?
I am here. Hello, everyone.
Woohoo! We are excited. All the way from Canada, zooming into us. We want to tell everyone about Anita.
Anita Adrian is an energetic alignment coach who shares a holistic approach to align the environment with the inner aspirations of her clients and students, helping them to achieve lasting results. Anita offers expert guidance to move past the limiting beliefs that are unknowingly being anchored and reaffirmed in our personal and professional environment.
Anita is a certified essential Feng Shui practitioner from the Western School of Feng Shui, and she's the only person to facilitate the Western School of Feng Shui curriculum in Canada. She also holds a degree in floriculture from Olds College, where she was an assistant instructor for many years, and she is a published author, having launched her first book, The Heart of Feng Shui, simply put, at a Kryon event in Chicago back in 2019. She's the contributing author of the international best-selling book, Ignite Love, and her third book is going to be released by Ignite Publishing in 2023, and it's co-authored with her business partner, Carroll.
Now, over the last 25 years, Anita has empowered thousands of people to live a more harmonious and balanced life. I like that. Her mission is to empower her clients and students to reach an elevated state of emotional excellence. Anita, we really have missed coming to Canada. We used to do it a lot. So here you are.
We've missed you.
Coming to see us. Welcome to our program.
I'm thrilled, so excited to be here. Lee, Monica, I carry you both in my heart always. And, the Kryon work has been so instrumental in the synchronicities that have occurred in my life. And I attribute that to you, Lee. I could probably tell some stories too, Monica, about the first time that I hosted Lee here in Canada in 2009, but we'll save that for another show.
Sounds good. So I love that we get to showcase one of your gifts, and that is really understanding not just the principles of Feng Shui, but how we can apply them in a practical way. So tell us how it all began for you.
Well, I intuitively practiced Feng Shui my whole life. I mean, I grew up in this very large family. I'm the 9th child of 11, so those numbers we've talked about before. And you can just imagine, 11 children in a very small house. It was very chaotic. And I was always looking for solace. I was always looking to just tweak the environment a little bit, just so that I could feel more balanced and calm. And, that really led me to my work of being a floriculture and owning my own flower business for many, many years. And it wasn't until I went to a Kryon event. In fact, it was the first Kryon event in Canada. And I have been, I read the first book, The End Times. I believe it was in 2005 or something like that. So the very first event in Canada, Banff, Alberta, my mom and I and my dear friend, off we went because we wanted to meet Lee Carroll, woo, and the Kryon team. And there was 500 people there. And during, just before one of the lunch breaks or something, Jan Tober came on stage and she was leading us through a beautiful meditation. And then she was talking about bubble bowls. And we're like, what? And then she started talking about feng shui. And she said, her dear friend, Tara Catherine Collins, wrote this amazing book called The Western School of Feng Shui. We should all, and it was just like when Jan spoke and she talked about feng shui, it was just like everything just clicked for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing my whole life. And I'd never heard the term before that moment. And so during the break, I talked to Jan and she, put me in touch with the book. And back then I couldn't even buy the book in Canada because, we're a little bit, backwards sometimes when it comes to the metaphysical world. And so anyways, fast forward, I found the book. A friend of mine brought it back from the US. I read through the pages. I started implementing everything in it. And again, it was just this beautiful synchronicity that in 1999, I was able to leave my young family, 3 young boys, my business, my husband. I left them all and I flew to San Diego and I took my training with Tara Catherine Collins. And I began implementing so many of the things that I learned. But I found that, intuitively, a lot of those things were already a knowingness. And of course, when we fast forward 25 years, I've come to realize that a lot of the things that I know, I teach, help my clients with, come from, the Akash, come from a past life where I've done this before. And I would not have those realizations, again, without the beautiful work that you do, Lee and Monica, and the Kryon work. So
thank you.
That's how I got started.
I love it. I just love it. And I will share a little story now for our viewers. And back when we were on the road, we used to have a sisterhood meeting with Amber Wolf. And so Anita decided that she would do a feng shui meeting for men. And guess what the subject was? She was teaching them how to bring romance in their life. And I was amazed at how many men would turn up for Anita's class. And I love that you mentioned teaching it to your boys because this is something for both genders. It's something you can work with no matter what background you're from, what your gender is, what your interest is in. And I want to just talk about the Bagua and whether you use it or you don't. And
we know you have new tools, and different tools, and slightly different. So let's go there.
Okay, so the Bagua is a tool that all feng shui practitioners use, and you could consider it like a meridian map for your home. So many of your audience, your listeners, your viewers, are very familiar with acupuncture, with going to a reflexologist, a massage therapist. Those, all of those healing modalities use different meridians or points in the body to remove blockages. So in feng shui, we use what's called the Bagua. Now the Bagua, the wisdom of it comes to us in feng shui from the book of divination, known as the book of changes, the I Ching. And so it's kind of like there are these 9 fundamental aspects of all of our lives. And for us to be holistic beings, it's important to have balance in all 9 of those aspects. So the Bagua map, the tool that we use, we overlay it energetically to the home environment. We can overlay it on a landscape, a building. It makes no difference. And what it does is it gives us some insight into what's going on for the home's occupants, the business occupants, that sort of thing. Now, in essential feng shui, which is where I'm certified from the Western School of Feng Shui, we use this feng shui tool, the bagua, we use it in what's called a non-directional approach. Now, I know, Lee, Monica, you've had a couple of other guests on your show that have talked about feng shui. And one of them is actually from what's called the compass school or traditional feng shui. So they actually orient the map differently. They orient it toward the directions, the 4 cardinal directions. In essential feng shui, we use it in a non-directional approach. But what's really interesting and, kind of was in the back of my mind for many, many years, as I started to practice feng shui, helping clients in their home, and we were using this tool called the bagua in a non-directional approach. And every time there would be things happening in that person's life that would be mirrored or reflected through the bagua. For example, if someone's health was not well, I could simply read the energy of the home, also using the bagua, to determine that there was something going on with their health, or perhaps their personal relationship, perhaps their romance. And I studied some of the compass school teachers. There's many of them out there. And I was like, why is it that it doesn't matter which school of thought that you use? And if I were to lay the map in a non-directional approach or take the compass direction approach, why is it that this thing works? Why is it that I am able to see things in the home environment that are being mirrored back? And it was because, again, of the Kryon teachings, all of the years that I was able to kind of put it together. Now, this is not validated by science. It's not documented anywhere. This is my personal take based on the information that I've received intuitively over the years. If we look at our first home, which is planet Earth, we will see energetically that there is a torus field of energy. And your audience is smart. They know what that's all about. Then if we look at our second home, our physical body, that's home to our spirit, we also have a torus energy field. And in feng shui, everything is connected to energy. And we're just energetic beings living in this energetic universe. So our home is comprised of everything that is it has some energetic value. There is no thing that shows up in our physical environment around our walls that has not come from the energy of Gaia, of Mother Earth. And so I believe that our home, with its foundation connected to the energy of our planet, connected to Gaia, is also connected to the electromagnetic field. It's connected to the grids that Kryon talks about, the crystalline grid. And we could also bring a little bit of sacred geometry in there, but that's maybe going a little bit too deep. However, what I really feel in my heart and intuitively is that when our homes are got like a little computer glitch, the energy, the circuit, right? We can think of it like an electrical circuit. The circuit isn't quite connected to all of those parts and pieces. There's a little glitch. And then the chi or the energy does not circulate around the home. It just flies off to Never Land. And so in order for us to have this holistic connection with our home, it's also important that our home reflects and is connected to that Gaia. And I believe our homes have a torus field energy as well. And because most of our homes in North America are angular, right? They're built in right angles and squares and boxes. And so it does not flow or follow the indigenous teachings, the way of Gaia, in that it's not circular. It's not a complete circuit. And so in essential feng shui, and the compass school feng shui as well, when we use the bagua, if there are missing areas, hence we can energetically reconnect the energy of your home to Gaia, complete that circuit. And it's going to help in that unseen, invisible world to nourish the home's occupants. And that, Lee, is one tool in feng shui that we use, but it's a very important one. And again, like I say, there's really no validation. It's just my opinion, my view, but that's what I believe, because as above, so below. And all of this quantum physics, and you start bringing all these energies into it, and it just makes good sense.
I have then the next question beyond that, and this gets a little bit, I would say, out of the other guests who have been with us in feng shui, is how do then limiting beliefs play into all of this? Because that's not what we do to our house. That's limiting. That's us. How would that then affect our environment?
Well, that's a great question. And, Kryon has often talked about the old soul. The old soul came in with 50% or less of their self-worth being masked or hidden, right? So that's part of our lesson and all of those things here. And in the last 60 years or so, we have been purposefully, intentionally programmed by our media, by our peers, by other sources. And in fact, I really believe that we have been duped. We've been duped to believe that having more, having this, having that, all of this consumerism is going to bring us more joy. It's going to bring us more happiness. It's going to help us get fit. It's going to help us be healthier. All of these things we have been programmed to believe are going to make us, feel happier, having a more fulfilled life. When in fact, having more stuff, really, when you think about physical things, the energy of it is more dense, right? So having more of that in your environment, in your surroundings, the energy then is not flowing. It's stuck, it's denser, it's of a lower vibration. And, one of your guests, and one of, again, another dear heart of mine, Dr. Bruce Lipton, he really said it best. He said, it's the environment, stupid, right? And of course, he's talking about a whole, our physical body. But when we look about the home, the home and all of its contents are anchoring and reaffirming the degree or level in which you love yourself. And so, your heart, right? Your heart lives in your home. And if your heart is happy, the home is going to reflect that. If your heart is not happy, the home is also going to reflect that. And, the subconscious programs that we have been carrying with us all of these years, that we have picked up unknowingly, are these limiting beliefs that are being anchored and reaffirmed and taking up residence in your environment, and you're not even aware of it. And if we consider that 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day are running through our subconscious mind, and we're like maybe 5% aware of what those are, those limiting beliefs are being anchored in our possessions, and they're showing up over and over and over again. And so if somebody is feeling that dense energy, feeling stuck, not healthy, not having a great relationships, all of those things really can be shifted simply by looking at the outer world, right? So let's start healing from the outside in. Ooh, there's a concept, right? Who's teaching that? No one.
So I think this would be a perfect time, Anita, for you to take us through what I know you can do, which is a guided exercise that will help us with this power of possessions. Is that okay for you to share that with us?
Absolutely. And Lee and Monica, would you like to participate as well?
I would love to. I'm all in.
Okay. So anyone can do this right now. If you're driving, probably not. Those people, you can listen and you can watch the replay later.
You're not supposed to be driving and watching the show, folks. Okay?
Yeah.
Just got this straight.
Okay, so I want you just to close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that you're at your home and you maybe are sitting in your living room, maybe you're sitting in your den or your office, or maybe in your bedroom, someplace, or you know what, right now if you're watching this, maybe you're sitting somewhere. And I want you just to envision that room, that surrounding, and I want you to, in your mind's eye and or physically if you can, I want you to pick up an object or an item that's in your view, in your reach, okay? Whatever it is, but there's something. We all have something that's, sitting there on the nightstand, on the coffee table. Maybe it's a picture on the wall. There's something, right? And I want you just to, again, just for a moment, really hone in on the energy of that particular item that you've chosen. And think about when that possession came into your home. Was it a gift from someone? Was it something that you purchased yourself? Maybe it's a memento from a holiday. Maybe a loved one who is no longer with us. There are many, many reasons why you would have something in your life. So now that you have got that recollection, that memory, I want you just to hone in again and just be still. And you could even put your hand on your heart if you like. And think about how you were feeling that exact moment when that possession, that thing, came into your life. Think about how you were feeling about that person, perhaps, that gave it to you. Can you remember what was going on in your life in that moment? Or close to? Maybe it was the day, the week, the month. Just really sit with that feeling for a minute. And of course, if you want to share in the chat, by all means, go ahead. But I just want to give you an example that everything that resides in your home with you, that is taking up residence, has an energetic signature, an energetic value, a snapshot that your subconscious has recorded and has a memory of. And it could be a moment where there was deep pain associated. There could be a moment of guilt, a moment of regret, There could be a moment of joy, happiness, elation. There could be so many emotions attached to that one possession. So you just think about all the possessions that you have in your home. And if there is an energetic signature of value that the subconscious remembers, that has a snapshot of, those are the limiting beliefs. Those could be the things that are holding your self-worth, right? That are not allowing you to move forward in life. And of course, for everyone, it is different, and it's going to be different. Maybe Lee, Monica, you want to share with us what possession you had in mind, or I certainly can share one with the audience, just so that, again, we have a clearer idea of how this is so impactful and how these items, these objects in our home are influencing our own vibration, our frequency, how we show up in the world.
Absolutely. I would love for you to share.
Okay, so I have this beautiful little wind chime that just sits on my desk. Sometimes my grandkids play with it. It's got a beautiful color, it's got a beautiful sound. And when I hold on to that possession, or when I bring it into my conscious awareness, it holds some beautiful, beautiful memories of being in New Mexico with, I think there was probably 1,600 people from all over the world. It was an amazing science and spirituality event, with speakers like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, Anita Moorjani, Dr. Todd was there. And I bought this at that event, and I bought it from, and I believe she was also a guest on this show, from Geraldine Glass. I bought this from her, and it's recycled, and it has a beautiful music. And so when I lift it up and I, chime it, it makes my heart sing. It makes me feel good, right? And so that energetic signature is recorded. So it helps to lift and raise my frequency. So even if it's just for that moment, when I interact with you all, when I interact with my grandkids or someone else, my personal frequency is then elevated. So then I get to show up a little better in the world because of that. I'll give you an example of a client of mine. This was many years ago. I was helping her with her home. She had gone through a terrible breakup situation, and it had been about 1.5 years past her breakup that she was ready to step out into the world and, maybe meet someone new or something. And when we were going through her home, there was this picture that was hanging on the wall. It was a really prominent area of the room, and it was a really bleak picture. Of course, that was my judgment I was putting on it. So in feng shui, we always ask, tell me about this. And so she started to tell me that, it was just a picture she bought to decorate the home when she first left her husband. Okay, there's a clue. And I said, do you remember where you bought it? She told me yes. And I asked her how she was feeling that day when she bought that picture. And she started to tell me, and she started to break down and have tears coming down her face. So she was recalling that energetic blueprint, that energetic snapshot, that exact moment, and was etched in time. And now it was hanging on her wall. And every day she walked by that picture, and it was reaffirming and anchoring her pain. It was reaffirming and anchoring that, oh, poor me, my husband left me, blah, blah, all of that. And so when we talked about it, and we went through just that one thing, one item in her home, oh my gosh, her just like, wow, she had this huge aha moment. The picture came down. And then the awareness for her to, in that moment, how are you feeling? What do you want to create in the future? That's what you want to have in your home.
That's right.
That's what you want to have as valued possessions in your home.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anita.
Great example.
We're actually out of time for this segment. However, this has been amazing. We now have even more tools, I feel, to take the work that we've created on previous guests with Feng Shui to add an even deeper look at how you can change your environment and change your life.
We put you on the spot because we do this at the end of every session with any guest, in that we give you just a moment, not much, just to say, what's your message for everybody before we close?
Oh, I think my message would be to align your home with your heart, right? And when you do that, it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your harmony, your relationships. It's going to affect everything. And you know what? You are worth it. Remember, we've been duped, right? Our self-worth is up here. And it's time to release those limiting beliefs that are attached to your stuff and live with items that make your heart sing. You're so worth it.
Oh, how beautiful. So in the words of Anita, let your home be your heart, let your heart be your home. And I'm just going to add a writer from Kryon, which is let love be the agenda. And with that, we are going to take a 10-minute break and see you back